Ms.Dria.
Sitting here staring at the wall. T-Cap telling me to carry on. Cause you win some, you lose some.
Hello everyone, this is your host, Ms.Dria. And here with me, I have my beautiful co-host,
Davia, the Wonder Twins.
And tonight here with us, we have the two superstars of the hit show, the MoBKing. Here to my left, I have the one and only Mr. Ciro. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And here to my right, we have the one and only Miss Selena, who's actually been here before. And she's back again. How have you been?
I've been doing great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So first off, tonight, Davika, they have something very exciting for us.
I know.
They have a hit show. It's called The MoBKing, and it is based on a true story on Mr. Ciro's life, actually. So give us a little bit about you first off. Where are you from?
Okay. Well, I'm from Miami.
Okay.
Miamian. So, it's about organized crime in South Florida and my participation in those rackets.
Okay.
And, we delve into, what it was that landed me in the joint for 20 years with racketeering charges and my rise, fall, and my eventual climb back up to the top, which I'm on now. So.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Climb back to the top. I don't know,
Yeah.
He's climbing back to the top, but I don't think
way.
it's not an organized crime.
I think it was a good way before, just some other people didn't like it too.
Right. It worked for him up until the feds
Exactly.
came.
So you must have had a pretty interesting and still interesting life to actually be making, a series off of it.
Yeah.
What was it that inspired you to do it? Were there other, people reaching out saying, hey, I want to do a story on you?
Sure, that's where it started, yeah.
Okay,
I got a little letter from some Hollywood bigwigs in 2004 when I went in wanting to do a story on my life, and I was, thinking, how are you going to do a story on my life? My life isn't even over yet. So, fast forward some 15 years later when I finally get out, I figure why let them do it? I'll do it myself.
Okay.
Oh, I like how you think. That's the boss moves.
Oh, well.
That's a boss move right there. Yeah. It's a boss move.
No other way.
Okay, so based off your story, you actually, when you were incarcerated, you're incarcerated for racketeering, correct?
Yeah, RICO.
Okay, so for the viewers who may not know exactly what racketeering is, please explain it for them.
All right, it's a charge that the government invented to take down the mafia and gang members, and pretty much now they use it to take down anybody they want. But it makes you responsible for other people's activities under you so that they're able to, get the boss of an organization who actually doesn't participate in a crime or may have just gave the order or whatever. It's a big umbrella that covers everything. It covers nothing. 3 or more people conspiring to commit the same crime over a period of 90 days. In a nutshell, it's a bunch of BS, but it lands you a bunch of time, and the government uses it and abuses it and ruins lives.
Wow.
They're good at that.
Okay, well.
So, we don't want to let the cat out the bag, but being that you spent time incarcerated, how was that like going from the streets, owning the streets that have to be behind closed doors? How was that for you?
Well, it sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, in a nutshell. Who wants to do that? Prison is prison. I'm sure a lot of listeners here have relatives or somebody who's in there now, and whatever the case may be, and state prison ain't no joke. It's the conditions are horrible. They make it horrible, and they take you. If you weren't an animal when you go in, they try to turn you into an animal by the time you come out. So the whole rehabilitation thing, that's a joke. They're not there to rehabilitate you. They spend their days trying to keep their thumb on you for every little thing, from straightening your ID to pull up your pants. So, they treat you like kids. But you go in. Guy like me, you're gonna find your way to the top of the food chain there too. There's a whole infrastructure of the way things operate in prison, the same way it is on the street, and you acclimate yourself to that, and you do the best you can to survive, which is what I did. So I always do that.
All right. It's like watching him talk, and it's like a actual.
He even has his energy is just like. He means business, you know what I'm saying?
It's like a movie.
But it's like you all in, like what next? I see it. Yeah, he have you all in.
Okay.
He's up, girl. He's up.
Okay, so now in your show, The Mob King, I commend you first off, like Davika said, on actually pursuing to do it yourself.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent, great idea, brilliant. And secondly, now with you having the series, because I'm aware that you already have 5 episodes, correct?
Correct.
Is there anyone actually reaching out to you
to
pick up the show?
Sure, yeah, we have several offers, you know, and a lot of people fishing for things, you know, with us, but we have a plan, me and my partners, Anthony Carone, George Giannis, we have a plan in place that we want to do, certain goals we want to meet so that we retain ownership. And, you know, the main thing for me is I want to call the shots, you know. A guy like me doesn't take well listening to others, you know, telling them what to do. So I know that ahead of time, so I'm going to do it my way. And the bottom line is I'm doing this, you know, because I want it to be the way I want it to be. So I'm not going to sell out. I don't care about money. I don't care about none of that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to create something that I want, that I'm proud of, that my kids are proud of, that people that know me are proud of. And I'm going to do it my way, or I'm not going to do it at all. So.
All right.
And it's working my way right now.
I know that's right.
I got this car. I got this car. Y'all want to ride out?
So what the fuck we got going on here? No, we're friends with your father, right? You want any of this stuff right here yet? No. Big damage, son. See. Oh, yeah.
What has it been like since you went to prison, and then now you've come out of prison? How is life like flip-flop for you?
Well, obviously, you know, when I went to prison, before I went to prison, I had millions of dollars that were all confiscated and lots of nice things. And when you come out, you have nothing because the government took it all from you and sold it to people for 25 cents on the dollar. But aside from that, you know, you just start building back. And once I started putting the show into play and got a couple of key players in with me, Anthony Carone specifically, and then Jokes came on. Once we shot the first episode and we seen the reaction from the fans, because you never really know how people are going to, you know, perceive you or what you're trying to do. And it just blew up. I mean, everybody loves it. We got a huge cult following, a huge fan base that people are taking notice of. And so once I seen that, I went all in. You know, I leveraged everything so far to keep producing it the way it needs to go. And it's pretty tight.
All right.
So, Dria, with that in mind, we have the beautiful Celine here. And I'm wondering, like, what's your story? How to be to be the daughter, right? You're his daughter,
Yes,
right?
I'm his daughter.
To be the daughter of a mobster. I mean, other than his organized life of crime, you definitely see the love and endearment you have for your father. Tell your side of the story.
Well, I unfortunately am not his real daughter, which I would love to be. He could adopt me anytime he wants. It was amazing. The audition was incredible. I loved auditioning with Anthony Carone. I was blessed to be a part of this project. I fell in love with absolutely every single person that's working there, like every single crew member. I'm obsessed with it. Every time I'm there, it's like a drive. When my character is kind of like the rebellious teenager that kind of is the extra pressure that my dad doesn't need right now.
Oh, yeah.
So that being said, I'm very manipulative, and knowing that he has so much pressure on him, I get to get away with a lot of things that I want, being a spoiled little teenager. So playing that role, especially since it's not really me as a person, I kind of create her as like my alter ego type thing. So I'm kind of obsessed with my character. I really do love her. I don't know about you, Ciro.
Well, you know, you definitely conveyed it in the trailer. You know, I saw like, so that's why, you know, you guys were joking earlier. So I really thought, you know, that you was his daughter, but it's doable. I mean, you look so authentic. So what did you learn, like, tapping to his daughter? What do you think, how you conveyed, like, how did you tap into her? What did you do to tap into her story?
Usually I don't really play characters that rebellious. So it was something different. I kind of got my character mainly through my mom. I feel like my mom in the MoBKing, I feel like I resemble her in her own teenage years in my own head.
She's talking about Elizabeth Fantone Cohen. She's plays my wife Mia White in the show. So we cast them. They kind of look similar body types and stuff. So they do really well together. And you know, the daughter role travels down a dark road. You know, where she gets kind of turned out and travels down a road with heroin use and drug abuse, and you know the whole thing there. We're very anti-drugs. You know, we don't like the heroin epidemic and stuff like that. My character especially. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of that in there and stuff like that, showing the downside of that and the surprises of that. There's a lot of that in episode 3 that people can see. And so it's going to be a very cool arc for her acting-wise to be able to pull off, because she's such a good girl, and this girl is really not a good girl.
Wow.
She's a manipulator.
Her character starts developing in episode 3. In your vision, how long do you foresee this project expanding?
Well, I mean, I believe, based on everything that I see, that it has the potential to be bigger than, you know, The Sopranos, which a lot of people compare us to, Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy. We're kind of all of that, because South Florida is a different environment for the mafia. It's you know, there's a lot of different players and characters and stuff than what you're used to seeing in a little block in New York City or something. So we're going to show that and how it works and how all the nuances go on with the, you know, interactions with different groups that are down here in the gang life and all that kind of good stuff. So I think that it has the potential on the right network or whatever to run indefinitely, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and then movies afterwards. So
I can definitely see that.
I mean, it's authentic. Everything that happens so far in the show after I get out of prison is just hypothetical. What if I was to do this again? What would happen? You know, things I may or may not have seen. You know, I'm not copping to any of that. But the stuff, you know, is there. And then, of course, we'll have scenes where we go back and we show you what prison life is like and all the things that go on there with me and how I rose to the ranks of what I did in prison. And then before prison, obviously, what got me in the mix, which is where all the excitement was. So there'll be a lot of things going on there.
So that is going to be stuff that actually happened?
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's definitely exciting. And what I want people to understand is, with a title like The MoBKing, The Mob, first of all, you can't just be anyone making, you know, a series called The MoBKing based on a true story, especially here in South Florida, and not necessarily be the MoBKing. Am I correct?
Well, you know, you definitely have to be able to, you know, there's certain people in the know, and they have to know who it was or what entity you were with and whatnot, you know, to have any type of authenticity, you know, and I have that. And so, you know, we'll explore all that. But my show isn't one of those tell-alls, you know.
Right.
There's no pointing fingers. We're not going to say names. I'm not going to talk about things we may or may not done. It's just entertainment. But all of the grit and the language and the way things operate and the way things go, all that will be true to form, you know. So you're not going to get more real of a portrayal of street life and how it goes down than what you're going to get with us. Because, you know, you have your cliche stuff that you see with all the movies that people like, you know, the guy gets shot because he was disrespectful or all that kind of junk. But in a sense, some of that stuff does happen. But the majority of it is all about making money. And that's the number one thing in any type of circles like that is money. You know, it's a machine. It has to be fed. It's fed cash. If you don't feed it, it eats you. And I was very good at not only feeding it, but eventually driving it.
I know for me, it's the brilliance of the mind and how the masterminding behind organized crime. Like, I love those kind of movies. It's either that or like romance movies. So for our viewers who are just hearing about the Mob King, tell them how they can catch hold of your trailer so you can get more fans, more shares, because the views is already ridiculous.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's very easy to watch. You can go to themobking.com. You got to put the in there, themobking.com. You can catch all 5 episodes. You can try to friend request me on Facebook, Ciro Dapagio. You can also go to the MoBKing TV fan page, the MoBKing family page. I mean, there's so many pages out there where we got all our shows up there for people to see. So it's pretty simple. Or you just Google the MoBKing and you'll be able to see it because they're all on there. So it's pretty good to do. And you're right about the analogy as far as, you know, organized crime goes. You have very intelligent bosses through the ages, and then you have real dummies, you know. So I equate it to a chessboard, you know, and the only thing about that chessboard is to protect your king, and that's what it's all about. It's whoever the boss is. Everything else is in play to make sure that that guy stays standing. Period.
Wow, that is something. And what I want to ask you, Selena, is being like Ciro said, and you also said you're not normally playing roles like this, and you're a good girl. So I want to ask you, being incorporated in the series that is based on a true story, and you know, knowing the story behind it, like what is that like for you? As far as like you're kind of living it in a way, but you know. Not so much, like on the safe side, I guess you would say. But what is it like for you, just like, wow, look at this story, like you know, in knowing Ciro, what is that like for you?
I think it's a pleasure to be knowing Ciro. I think he's a blessing that entered my life, honestly. I some people that enter my life and I see them as like little angels, and I think Ciro's one of my little angels that he's in me. It was, as soon as I read the script, for like the audition, I got a slide. So I got just a few pages of the script and not much detail behind it. So it was pretty much just like this girl bratting over something that she wanted. Which I went in, then they told me, we don't know, you're not 18. I don't know if you're going to be comfortable playing such a demanding role, because it's understandable. There's so many big dilemmas that are a part of it, like the drug. I think with my age being a part of it, I get to bring people my own age to see what's going on and bring them more, like, bring more awareness to it. Since like my generation's kind of like the generation that's probably more close to getting involved into aspects like this, especially like high schoolers. So I think it's very beneficial that I get to be a part. I don't know how to say this. That I'm a part of this. What else? Can you repeat the question? I got like rambled in my words.
I just wanted to. I don't know if I had, like, you kind of answered it, but just as far as your view, as far as the mob life, what is it like?
I think it's super like intriguing. Yeah. It's a story that not a lot of people are going to be able to be living in their lives. So of course. Right. So just getting to learn about it and see new aspects of it and learn so much about like what's going on and how people are actually living like things like this. It's always like a learning experience for me, especially with like a bunch of different characters. You kind of step into the shoes of someone that's completely different. There's people literally living that role.
It's the allure, but I think what you said was really key. Excuse me, for the millennials to be able to see the two sides, because a lot of times we see these movies and we glamorize that life, but there is the dark side, and being able to illuminate that also kind of get people like, you know, okay, yeah, that's cool. We see the glamorization of it, but like life is real and it can go down, you know? So
well, I think what people are entranced by is just the allure of the power. But the reality of it is that, you know, there is no glitz and glamour to it except for the bosses. You understand? Everything else is dirty. You know, it's a snake pit. You understand? So you never know when you go to this meeting if you're going to walk out of that meeting, you know? So you got to always be prepared. You got to always be on point. You got to always be, you know, checking the the play,
Wow.
you know.
Right.
So,
Wow.
and the real good ones do it, you know, and they survive. I was lucky enough to survive it. I found myself in a lot of positions that, you know, I managed to work my way out of and manipulate my way out of and muscle my way out of, whatever needed to be done. And that's how you do it, fighting, you know, to get in your position. Where I was at was unique. The particular people I was working for created a situation for me that was unique, and I took it and ran with it. And,
Wow.
you know, it blew up pretty good. And then it blew up to pieces.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
You know, but that's the way it goes. But, yeah, I mean, I don't recommend it for anybody. I mean, it's really not like what it was. The government wins. They're the biggest mafia of this day and age, you know.
You saying something.
And the Don sits in the White House. So, you know, that's what it is. There is no, you know, anybody who's contemplating, oh, I want to be in the mafia or a gang or whatever. I mean, it's not where it's at, man. Go to school, because you ain't going to get nowhere but a lot of boatload of time or end up dead, you know.
Wow.
Quick money ends up in the big time. So that's how you got to look at it.
All
you
right,
know?
all
And
right.
that's the message.
I know, right? I'm
Message.
glad that you actually
Message.
broke that down. What I want to ask you is, being that, you know, you're going back in time and you're writing these scripts and you're actually playing them out again, do you ever like feel like, is there a moment when shooting these scenes that it's like, whoa, like it's a little real? Like,
well, the thing about it is that, you know, if I had it to do all over again, I wouldn't, because, you know, nobody wants to do as much time as I did in prison, and
Right.
you're away from your kids, and, you know, my parents died while I was in prison. I mean, it's not a good thing.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
right.
there's no amount of money or power worth it. But with all that said, when you're either, my philosophy always was, I either got to be the best or I become a victim. So, you know, I became what I had to become, you know, which was the lion.
all right, all right,
The king of the jungle. So,
right.
you know, and that's what I did. You know, I kicked ass and took names. So, and then, you know, I paid the price, got out, and now we'll just make some entertainment out of it, you know?
All right. Well, hey, that's looking at the glass half full and not half empty. So
Right.
there you go.
Right.
I appreciate you for that optimism. Now, Selena, I want to ask you, I actually want to ask both of you all if you could please give us your Instagrams, your Twitters, your Facebook, so that we can stay in contact with you guys and keep up with everything that the MoBKing has going on.
Well, my Instagram and my Facebook is both Celine Alva. Instagram is Celine Alva with an underscore. You could add me there. I'll add you back. Yes, I always have the MoBKing in the link of my bio because got to represent.
That's right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, perfect. And you, Ciro?
Mine's simple. Ciro Dapagio, Dapagio. And you can Google that or Google the MoBKing, and everything's there. Everything's public anyway, so.
All right, perfect. Well, I wish many blessings to you and yours. The MoBKing, I can't wait to just see it because it's already coming to life. So I wish you nothing but success with the MoBKing, in other words. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to come by the Ms.Dria show. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure having you. And is there anything that you would like to
I was just thinking, were you guys doing like any red carpet features or launch of the series?
Yeah, we've done all of that. We've done.
I missed it.
We do red carpets every time we launch another episode or
All
two.
right.
Okay.
So I'll make sure you guys are, you know, invited, so I don't have to deal with those guys you sent to bring me down here tonight. Don't want to see them again. She's got them dudes.
Breaking Bad.
No.
Nah,
We would
just playing.
definitely love to attend.
Oh, yes.
Definitely love
I got
to
you.
attend.
I got you.
So
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for taking the time out. It has been a pleasure. And whenever you work on another new project, any project, whenever you have something new and you feel like feeding to the people, please come back.
Yeah,
on
you're
our
a friend
show
of
and do it.
you're a friend of the show. So we'll be filming episode 6 in January, and we'll make sure you come on set.
Oh, I love it.
All
I'm there,
right.
like the fair.
Right,
I'm there.
Definitely.
Like the
So I
fair.
want to thank you guys. It has been a pleasure. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll come back with so much more. You won't want to miss it.